Presence speaks louder than words ever could, right? I said it the other day, it came out, like your presence precedes your authority. When you have presence, people feel it. That provides the authority before you speak or anything.
If you need to be the loudest person in the room to impress people, to show you money, what you have, your material thing, that's not confidence, that's just a mask, a costume.
The world wants you broke, it wants you sick, it wants you fearful, it wants you misinformed because it can control you and you become a consumer and you become dependent on the world. Your attention is currency. So everywhere you put your attention is currency. So people have no confidence because all their attention is on the phone, on the TV, on the sport, on the influencer, on TikTok, and all their energy, creativity, and confidence is like wires going into the phone, into the TV, and they're lost and they've no creativity left, no juice, no power.
A lot of people try to fit into society's expectations. That's why they're not confident as well.
You don't need to know the how, because again, the vision is in your heart and in your imagination. Just start taking the action. Like I said a minute ago, the inspired actions that come, just take them, trust that. And if you trust that, the doors open, the roads open up in front of you.
Hello, bonjour à tous, I hope you're well. We're back on this new episode of Reborn Podcast, and today I'm so happy to receive again my friend Aidan.
Good to be back.
Yes, part two actually. I'm so excited about this. How are you?
It's great to be back. Yeah. So good to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been 1 year actually since our last recording.
Really? 1 full year?
Wow. I was counting, I was like, oh my God, time flies.
Time flies, we're having fun.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of people ask me to have you back on the podcast because they loved the first episodes. Wow. I'm very happy for
that's great to hear.
This part
too. Nice to hear people wanted another one.
Yes, exactly. So how have you been since 1 year?
Great. A lot has happened. A lot has happened. Business has grown. Had hip surgery from an injury. Lots of ups and downs, challenges, but lots of fantastic growth and life is good.
Exactly.
God. All is good.
Yes, and life is not linear. You need highs and lows.
I always say there's no up without down. There's no hot. You don't know what hot is unless you know what cold is. You don't know what light is without dark. So for me, like a big part of everything is enjoying all of it, because I don't believe in good and bad. I always say, when we label something good or bad, it's like a desire for control. Like that's good because it suits me. That's bad because it doesn't. So when you surrender more and you kind of have this attitude of acceptance and allowing, you have more peace, number one. But number two, it's just you just keep moving forward. You keep trusting and moving forward. And why waste time like good and bad? Because that just creates suffering.
For those who don't know you, Aidan, you're a speaker. You're a high performance coach.
Exactly.
The founder of Back to Me Business.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And the podcast host as well.
Technically, I suppose. Yeah.
So it's good. And I was so excited about our topic. It's one of my favorite, actually, confidence. And I think confidence means everything and nothing at the same time. It's a huge chapter, There's a lot of things to talk about. So I was really excited about this. And first of all, were you confident when you were young?
It's funny, I was talking about this on my Back to Me group just Monday, actually. And I was saying, and it was in another podcast last week, it came up. I don't know why. And I know, obviously, I released a book recently called The Confidence to Be Yourself. So it was a big coincidence. I don't know which came first, your idea for the podcast or after the book. But, confidence is such a massive issue. And the reason I wrote the book, The Confidence to Be Yourself, was because it came from a masterclass that I was teaching. And the reason I created a masterclass around confidence was because even the people at the highest level, so I coach all different levels, like the general public on how to get clarity, alignment, and truth. That's the essence of Back to Me. But I also have a lot of business coaching clients, executive. I go into companies and I train them on leadership and sales and high performance. But the biggest thing they're lacking is confidence. It was crazy. Like the amount of people who reach out to me, the amount of, up to about a year or two ago, 75% of my clients were female. The majority was female.
Oh, really?
And a lot more men have come in the last year or two somehow. I think maybe because it's been more business stuff coming. But there's still a lot of females in my group and in my business program and my Back to Me program. And confidence is such a big issue, So I always say clarity leads to confidence. It's ultimately a lack of clarity, which we can get into later. But to answer your question, Was I always confident? I was. I always knew who I was and knew what I wanted. And that's why I went out working for myself since 2010, because I was 25. I'd been working on cruise ships. I was confident speaking. I was confident on stage. I was confident selling. But honestly, there was a lack of confidence in a lot of areas for so many years, you know. So when I was young, yes, I was confident, but there was a lot of gaps in my confidence. There was a lot of holes. There was a lot of insecurities.
Yeah.
And I was very aware of them. And I think that's why I ended up doing the work I'm doing, because I was obsessed with figuring out how can I find mental freedom? How can I find emotional freedom? Because I was suffering, because I'm an overthinker, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I found I would lack confidence, and I'd still see that old program show up today. I still have to stay on top of it. Because when it comes to maybe things I don't like doing, like social media or marketing things, there's a lack of confidence because there's a lack of clarity. So I would say, yes, I always had confidence to know who I was and what I wanted, and I always went my own way. I didn't care what anybody said since I was a child. But there was definitely, you know, as I say, gaps. And, you know, I spent my whole life being obsessed with mental and emotional freedom, filling these gaps, actually. So it's funny, the lack of confidence gave me the clarity and the confidence to be who I am today. And that's something I tell clients all the time. It's a contrast. When something happens you don't like, or you have fear or doubt or anything, it's showing you where you need to go, where you need to lean in. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, totally, yeah. And I believe something as well about confidence is that it's not innate, you know. You're not born with that. It's something you build with time, brick by brick, day by day.
Yeah.
And I think education plays a huge role in our confidence. So what do you think about that, the education?
I would say, I think education, I'm going to say something that might be funny now, but I think education is one of the biggest confidence killers, actually. And, you know, in the book, I have all these confidence killers. That one's not in the list, but I actually think formal education gives some people a lot of confidence and it takes away other people. So school took my confidence away because I didn't like school, because I was someone who was a free thinker, a speaker, a talker, a dreamer, and school is not designed for that.
No.
I always say school teaches you how to answer the questions, but it doesn't want you to question the answers.
That's true.
When you ask questions or you talk a lot, you're known as a talker or a class clown or whatever. And if you're a daydreamer and you have a big dream, it's like you're just a dreamer. So for many people, school boosts when they have a good academic profile and they get into the college and they get the job, but ultimately they lack confidence too later because they fell into a false trap, a false belief that if you can remember something, you should be confident. But the other side are the people who didn't have confidence then, who had to find their own way, and they discovered way more confidence down the road. So I think it depends which side you're on, you know, but for me, school got in the way of my education. My education started after school.
True, exactly. And a lot of people reveal themselves after school, actually. Like, school tries to box us in. That's what I don't like about that.
100%.
You can't be confident if you like.
I had no confidence. I was so confident in school, and then I feel like they beat it out of me because, you know, they didn't give me a future. No one talked to me about entrepreneurship or owning a business. No one talked to me about sales or anything like this. Like, all you had was science and arts and all this stuff, and it's like, why didn't anybody talk to me about like my strength of what I was good at, you know? And it was funny, 10 years later, after I left school, I met my old principal in a hotel where I was running an event. And I actually finished school early. I didn't even finish high school. I left after the first 2 weeks of my last year. I was like, this is getting in the way of my education. So I left. And I started my own thing and got into health and fitness, ran gyms, worked on cruise ships, and that's how I ended up becoming an entrepreneur eventually. And I met my principal, and he said, "Mr. O'Brien, where have you been? What's been happening?" And it was like a movie. I got to tell him, you know, I'd been traveling around the world, speaking on stage. I'd spoken to, like, at that point, about 250,000 people all over the world. And I said, you know, school just wasn't for me. And he said, "It's not for people like you." And he really blew my mind. And I talk about this in some of my events now, but he told me that the school, especially in Ireland, the school system was built by the church. So the church created a program to get you out of school to prepare you for work.
Yeah.
Work in factories, work in industry.
It's the same in France.
So it was literally created by the church. So it's not made for you to succeed, for you to shine, for you to fly. It's made for you to be a robot and to come in, take a break, come back, work, take 2 weeks holidays, come back, go home Friday, come back Monday. To answer the questions, not to question the answers. And I was like, man, that makes so much sense. And I was so proud at that moment that I got to say, I made it by myself, because one of my mentors, my spirit animal, Jim Rohn, he's a famous business speaker. Tony Robbins, everyone learned from this guy. He was one of the originals, even though guys came before him too, right? There's always someone. Yeah. But he said, I heard a famous saying that formal education can make you a living. It can make you a living, a job. But self-education can make you a fortune. But Aidan O'Brien added to that. And Aidan says, yes, formal education makes you a living. Self-education can make you a fortune. But self-exploration can set you free.
I love that.
So when you explore yourself, and that's what I've been doing for 20 years, is I've been exploring our mind, human behavior, psychology, just finding your way, creating freedom. And that's what sets you free. So the self-education, a lot of guys make today, creators, agencies making a lot of money, but they still haven't done the self-exploration. So they're still a bit asleep in a lot of ways. So that's what I like to bring. That's what Back to Me is. It's about that awakening.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And what is self-exploration, in your opinion? Can you tell us more?
So self-exploration is, again, being willing to question. So I became a coach in 2014, and a lot of people get coaching mixed up. They think it's like mentoring. Coaching is about asking questions and bringing things out of you. Mentoring is my expertise that I'm training you and speaking to you and teaching. So actually the coaching modality officially is about questions. And I fell in love with that. That's why I got into coaching in 2014. Now, I don't call myself a coach because I think what I do now is a million levels beyond coaching. I don't want to limit. I never felt comfortable with that, right? Because I do so much more than that. But I love the coaching philosophy of bringing out questions. So questions are the answer. I have an episode on my podcast called Questions Are the Answer. Like the right question is always the answer.
That's true.
When I sit down with people, it's often just the questions I ask changes the whole thing. Before I even get to tell them my insights, my expertise, my experience, 20 years, I just get to ask questions and from a new perspective. So self-exploration is about questioning. It's about questions over conclusions. Because questions open doors. What's possible? How can we move forward? What can we do? Where can we go? How far is possible? Whereas conclusions are, this is the way it is. This is who I am.
No.
There's no way forward. Conclusions close doors. So again, I said clarity leads to confidence, but curiosity leads to clarity.
Exactly.
So curiosity leads to clarity. Clarity leads to confidence. So how do you self-exploration? You have to get curious. Who am I? Where am I going? What do I want? Who am I really? Who am I becoming? What's meant for me? What am I capable of? That's questions. Curiosity leads to clarity. Clarity then leads to confidence.
But self-exploration, it's the hardest thing to do because it means facing yourself. And I think a lot of people are scared about that.
So if I was to really go at you now and challenge you and I was coaching you, you just made a conclusion. So even though there's truth in what you said, the hardest thing to do is face yourself.
Yeah.
But how you've set that frame up, as you said, it's the hardest thing to do. So you already made a conclusion. You already built a wall. So your subconscious... So your subconscious, and it's good that you did it because I get to highlight it for the viewers. So they're like, oh, people don't realize how casual they are with their language.
So true.
And then they built this wall, but your subconscious is not going to move forward because you just built a wall. You already put a difficulty before you even started.
True.
So your brain is going to stop
your
seeking. Your
condition in your mind.
Immediately. So you're not even going to do it now because it's like already the door is closed, right? So that's really beautiful actually when you realize that. I always say casualness leads to casualties. And casualty is a death, right? So what's the death? What's the death of your vision, the death of your dream, the death of your confidence, the death of your spirit? Because you make a conclusion, this is just the way it is. This is the hardest thing you can do. So you shut the door before you even have a chance. And that's why most people stay stuck, stay small, and they don't have curiosity, they don't have clarity. That's why they lack confidence.
Yeah, because they think they can't change as well.
They think they know everything already.
Yeah.
But you know nothing. I'm 20 years obsessed and I feel like I know nothing. Every day I'm like, how do I get better? How do I figure it out? We don't know. We think we know. So I always say, like, we know what we know, we know there's things we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know. That's that's where the miracle happens, because we know, like, I know this is my expertise, but I know there's things I don't know yet, but I don't know what I don't know. And that's where the miracles happen. Not magic, miracles. And when you start getting curious about what's in that space, now there's no limits. Now I can have quantum leaps. That's why I talk a lot about multipliers. So I have a challenge called a success multiplier. I go to businesses to multiply the revenue. How do you multiply? Because of all this stuff in this space. They don't think they can multiply because they know what they don't know. But they don't realize there's so much more out here. And that's how you can multiply your success. People who are watching they think they have to get a little bit more confident or have a little bit of success. No, they can multiply by realizing what's not true. By letting go. That's the first step. That's why I created Back to Me, is the essence of everything I do is first let go. What's most important for confidence is to stop doing the things you keep doing that you shouldn't be doing. Not to add on, think positive, set goals, get all this is nonsense. Be more disciplined, wake up early. It's nonsense. I have to let go everything first. Now I remove what's not me. Now I'm clear, I have energy, I'm light. Now what is for me? Now I get truth. Now I have ideas. Now I move forward with trust. I take action from the truth, not from the illusion. Now I'm free. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Let's go.
I love
you
that.
You got me going now already.
Yeah.
You got me going. It's the coffee or I think it's the truth.
Yeah. Oh my God. So true. But a lot of people think they're confident as well. Like, yes, I'm confident. I'm the loudest person, so I'm confident. But that's
a great
not.
point.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you think is the difference between real confidence and arrogance? What's the difference?
You just said it. I can't believe you just said it so perfectly, because I always say true confidence is silent.
True.
Okay, so the real confidence is silent. It's presence. And presence speaks louder than words ever could, right? And I always say that, like I said it the other day, it came out, like your presence precedes your authority. When you have presence, people feel it. That provides the authority before you speak or anything. So real confidence is, again, it's clarity of who you are. It's being in your truth, being in alignment. That's the mission. That's all that matters. Forget making $1 million, forget having success, looking good, feeling good. Alignment is key. Like, what's my truth? I have to stand in that. And people lose confidence because when you don't stand in truth, you betray yourself. See, people think they're just lost or confused. No, they're betraying themselves because they know their truth, or they know where they are is not their truth because they feel terrible. That's how you know. But they keep doing it. Stay in the crappy relationship. Stay with the bad eating habits. Staying up late watching TV. Stay scrolling. Stay complaining and moaning and giving out about how tough things are. Blaming other people. That's all how you know you're not in your truth. And you keep doing that. It's a choice. You're betraying yourself. So when you start to let go of that and stop that and get back to who you are, that confidence is silent, because in silence is where the truth is found. It's not found in the noise.
No.
So you have to stop the noise, let go, breathe, get silence, ideally get into nature and things like that, because that's where you receive. I call it receiving mode. And when you get into receiving mode, you find out who you are. And that's real, true confidence. It's silent.
Exactly.
The loudest voice isn't confidence.
No, never.
That's actually that's a real signal of insecurity and fear.
True. If you need to be the loudest person in the room to impress people, to show you money, what you have, your material thing, that's not confidence. That's just a mask, a costume.
Exactly. You're in fashion. It's exactly just a costume. It's just a confidence costume. # confidence costume. We just launched a new product today. I love it.
I love it too. Yeah. And
confidence costume. That's the new line. That's
the new line coming soon.
Winter 2025.
Exactly.
Or 2026, I should say.
But confidence is quiet. It's not noisy, as you said. And a lot of people try to fit into society's expectations. Yeah. That's why they're not confident as well, I think.
Definitely. I call it being asleep. You're all on a spectrum of asleep and awake. And the world wants you asleep, because when you're asleep, you're in need mode. I need this. I need to do that. I need to buy this. I need to watch this. I need to watch the sport. Go to the game. Go to the bar. Go have the drinks. The world wants you broke. It wants you sick. It wants you fearful. It wants you misinformed because it can control you, and you become a consumer and you become dependent on the world. And that's why your currency is your attention is currency. So everywhere you put your attention, it's currency. So people have no confidence because all their attention's on the phone, on the TV, on the sport, on the influencer, on TikTok, and all their energy, creativity, and confidence is like wires going into the phone, into the TV, and they're lost, and they've no creativity left, no juice, no power.
True.
Whereas when you take that back, again, back to me, makes sense, right? When you get back to me, back to my truth, all that energy starts coming this way. And then the attention comes here, and I can create and make the dollars, essentially, and the energy and the joy and the productivity. But as long as I'm a viewer, as long as I'm a fan, as long as I'm a consumer, everything is going out. And you're wondering why you've no energy to build your life. You're wondering why you've no energy or creativity for your relationship, to be vibrant, to be healthy, to be energetic, to be powerful. Because all your attention's outward. And the world wants that. Food is designed to make you addicted. Apps are designed to keep you on it. Everything is designed to keep you living outside of yourself.
And distracted.
Distracted. So the opposite of intention is distraction. So you can't have intention if you're distracted, and the world wants you distracted. And that's why being an entrepreneur is lonely. Being a visionary is lonely. Doing your own thing is lonely because everybody's pulling you this way. Well, you have to watch the game. And I'm a sports guy. I played sports my whole life. Love sports. Still watch some sports. But I remember 10 years ago waking up saying, if I'm sitting for hours watching sport, I'm a fan. They're the ones the players making 300,000-400,000 a week or millions a year. The owner's making more, and I'm a fan, and I'm feeding that and getting nothing back. And people think it's normal. We have to watch the game. No, you don't. Not if you're not fully aligned, if you're not confident, if you're not healthy, if you're not happy, if you're not productive, progressing, moving forward, you have no time to be sitting and watching a match. Who cares? Oh, that's my team. No, you're not their team. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
So all of the world is designed to keep you living outside of yourself. You got to bring it back to me. You got to. That's where confidence comes from. What's for me? Where am I going? As long as you're breathing, you have a mission, you have a purpose, there's something you should be doing. And if you're suffering, it's because you're outside of that. And when you get back into that, like, you need less sleep. Like I couldn't sleep last night because I'm launching this new kind of offer project for some clients, and it's like I was just so excited about it. I'm like, I got to go to sleep. I'm with Eva in the morning talking about confidence. I got all these lights. That's why I have my coffee. But you can't. When you get in the zone, you get creative. You can't stop it. You're fueled. You have an infinite energy source because it's from truth. That's why I can talk all day. I do coaching clients all day, corporate all day, my coaching online. How do you do all day? Because I have an infinite source of energy. Why are you exhausted from your job after 8 hours? Because it's not from an infinite source. It's from a fear-based, dependency-based, illusion-based condition of, I got to give all my time away for some money. Instead of, how do I get alignment, get focus, get into my purpose? And when I do that and I seek mastery and I become the best in the world, guess what happens? The money comes.
True.
That's it. You get me?
So confidence comes with alignment.
100%. Alignment is the mission, awareness, alignment, clarity, vision. All the clients come for me what they think they need, and I have to give them what they really need. They come for what they think they want, visibility, success, everything. But the truth, the Trojan horse is the truth, the alignment, the awareness, the clarity. Without that, you've nothing. It's just always capped.
Okay, I love that vision. Yeah. Oh my God, I will be so energized for the rest of the day.
The rest of the year, I hope.
Yeah, the rest of the year. And I wanted to talk about conditioning as well.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, me as well, grow up with this inner critics, telling us that we're not enough, we're not strong enough, we're not good enough, we're not smart enough. Like this inner self-talk. And how do we do to silence this negative self-talk?
So I have a chapter in my new book that's coming out. The book is called Back to Me. It's the big book. I think I might have said it last year. It's still not out because it's a big, very personal, big thing, big story, right, as well. But I have something in there called Loving the Parts of Yourself That You Don't Like. So all the parts of ourselves we don't like are elements of our personality were shaped when we were vulnerable, when we were fearful, when we were scared, when we were lost. And, all those parts of ourselves we don't like are signals. It's signaling. to get you curious, to ask questions, to bring it to the surface, to let it go. But what we do is, because it's uncomfortable, like you said earlier, we end up denying it. We end up masking it. We cover it with drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, complaining, whatever else that we do, blaming, all the scrolling, shopping excessively. Everything we do is a medication to stop that feeling of the inner critic. Whereas if we get curious and we realize, and I do something with my clients called divorcing your parents. So we help you out to, it's interesting. We don't have time to get into it today, but it doesn't matter if you had a good relationship or not. It means cutting ties of the bondage, of the unconscious connection, some of the guilt we have, some of the fear, all the stories that were shaped when you're 5, 6, 7 years old, that you didn't know what they were, but they created a feeling, a sensation, and they shaped you. And that's why some people are loud and some people are quiet. Some people get sad, some people get angry, some people laugh. All of these elements of the personality were shaped when they were young, but they didn't know how it was caused. So when I do the divorcing your parents, I take people back to their childhood, and we find some of those moments and we identify the source. And then we realize, and we bring it back into the now, and we see that's not us now. And we learn to let go of that and cut those cords, and we free ourselves now. And then even if you have a good relationship with your parents, it's going to be even better. And if you don't have a relationship, you're going to understand and forgive, and you're going to forgive yourself, and you'll realize that you'll celebrate them and be grateful for them for bringing you into the world, right? That's their job. We think they have to take care of us till they're 50, till we're 50, but we don't. That's just a societal thing, that we're dependent. We have to get rid of that and find our own autonomy. And the best thing we can do as children to honor our parents is to become the freest, most awake version of ourselves. Their job was to bring us into the world. It's our job to figure out the rest. So all those inner things, and if people have anger issues, jealousy, fear, all the things maybe we don't like, critical, overthinking, doubting, whatever the elements are that we have, lazy, procrastination, which I call avoidance behavior, anything like that comes from something that served you at one time. So we have to stop judging the critic. We have to start getting curious, find out where it came from, where's the source of the power, and ask, what's it telling me now? What's the message? Because one of the chapters in Back to Me is your chaos is your communication. So instead of judging the chaos, get curious about the chaos. What's it telling me? What's the message? And now I get to find, guess what? The truth. And the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's not easy. It's simple though.
Simple, yeah. And I think the more you avoid the part of yourself that you don't like, the more it's coming back like...
Exactly. Preach. It's a monster in the closet. It gets bigger and bigger and it consumes you.
Exactly.
And that's why you have to I call it walking through the fire. You got to walk through the fire back to yourself. And when you do, it's the messy, uncomfortable, it's not nice. But on the other side is where you find yourself and you find your truth and you find your freedom. And then you're free. And then you realize you need nothing. And when you need nothing, you can have everything. How cool is that?
It's cool.
When you need nothing, you can have everything because you realize you have everything already. Because what you're seeking is already inside of you. But every time you reach for what you think you want, you lose it because you're saying, I don't have it. But you do have it. You just don't have to recognize it because it's covered in noise. It's full of pain and hurt on top. It's full of stories. And the world is constantly you in a cycle of chaos. Because the world doesn't want you to be free. Because then it can't control you.
Exactly. Yeah.
All day on this. I love this stuff.
I love too. Yeah. And confidence comes by building the right boundaries as well. I would like to talk about relationships.
Beautiful.
How to...
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
here
exactly.
We go. Getting deep now.
How to start setting the right boundaries in our relationships. Like having more respect. A lot of people struggle with saying no. And how to build that?
Yeah. I mean, lack of boundaries is a lack of, again, it's a lack of respect for yourself. It's a lack of knowingness of who you are. But again, I'll say it's like I said earlier, it's a betrayal of yourself. And that's what's interesting. Because when I first heard this from a friend of mine, we were talking about this. When you're not standing in your truth, you're betraying yourself. So when you don't have boundaries, you're betraying. Imagine, because you think I just don't have boundaries. But when you say I'm betraying myself, some of you are like, that hits different. I don't want to betray myself. So you tolerate like allowing people to treat you badly. But when you say I'm betraying myself, your brain and your mind, your heart, your spirit says, no, we don't do that. And immediately you're going to be stronger, and immediately you're going to want to take action. Say, I'm not going to betray myself. Like, this is insane. So in relationships, they're the biggest communicators, signals for us of what we need. And people will have heard this, but like, everyone's a mirror. Well, it's true. Like, what I like in others is what I see in myself.
True.
Right? And what you like in others, what you see when you admire that in someone, because you think you have a bit of it. But when you don't like something in someone, it's something unhealed inside of you. It's something that hasn't been dealt with. And I always say, like, every bad relationship, whether it's a boss who's mean and like a bit of an asshole, or it's someone who's really bitchy and not nice and like really not kind of almost evil, they're all sent to activate you. And what if I told you they were sent by you? What if I told you that all those interactions in your life were designed to wake you up? And what if I told you chose all of them before you were born to say, I'm going to have all these experiences in my life to make me who I'm supposed to be? To navigate this journey, to guide me on my journey, to help me wake up. And what if I told you that you can wake up whenever you want? You can keep suffering and having more interactions, or you can learn quicker. What if I told you don't have to learn through all the suffering, you can learn through joy also? What if I told you always have a choice and you get to choose? And that's the truth, because why do some people end up in the same relationships over and over? Couldn't they have learned the lesson sooner? Couldn't they have said no this time? Of course, they could have learned through joy instead of through pain. They could have stopped the suffering sooner. But no, it's like, and we have all these other interactions lined up ready until we learn the lesson. So a bad relationship or a bad boss or a bad friend is just contrast. It shows you who you don't want to be, and it moves you. It helps shape your values, what you like, what you don't like, what you want, what you don't want. But again, you have to have the awareness to interpret it. You have to be aware enough to say, like, this is telling me something, and this is not, I don't want this, and this is showing me something in myself I don't want to be. And then I have to choose the opposite and take action. If I do, I break through the level and I graduate and I awaken more and I awaken more. And we're going to keep awakening until we die and go back to our fullest awakeness, which is where we are, which is where we were before we were born. So when we're in this humanness, we're asleep a bit. And everything is a signal. Everything is communication. So the bad relationship, again, if you're in it, it's telling you something. Maybe you're supposed to learn, grow, and work through it and stay in it. Because some relationships, the right one is going to, when you find the right person that helps you say, I don't want to be this way I was before. I don't want to be fearful. I don't want to be, there's all these different things people have in relationships, right? They're fearful, they're angry, they're sad, they're doubting, they're controlling. Any of those things, we say, I don't want to be that anymore. This person makes me want to be better. So some people, some relationships you don't have to get out of. They're supposed to be so strong that it makes you grow. But some you're meant to grow and get out. So you have to have the awareness to figure out which one is it, basically.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing this. Yes. Yeah. So the bad relationship is there to activate us, as you said.
Exactly. I'm so glad you really do listen. I love that about you. Activation is the key. And doesn't that change it? Like, wow, they activated me to wake me up. Wow, now I'm awake. Now I can say no quick. Now I know what I don't want. Now I can move forward faster. Because what happens is you're being activated, but you just stay in it. And then you just complain and bitch and moan, and you just stay where you are. And you try and mask it with the costume, with the shopping, the drink, the drugs, whatever, the food. But really, it's a signal to say, no. We have to move. We have to change, or we have to grow, and we have to let go, and we have to stop. We have to change direction. So communications are beautiful like that, and again, it's how do we learn that everything is the message. Everything is a message, but we have to be willing to listen.
True. And most of the time we don't listen.
No, because I'm right and I don't like what he said, she said. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they said that. But we don't take responsibility. Like we have to, and again, if you want to be a leader and you want to be someone who's a visionary and successful, and you want to stand out from everybody else, you take responsibility. So I'm going to get better. Even if I was wronged, I'm going to be better. I'm going to raise my standards.
That's what I love.
Yeah. And then what you graduate from that circle doesn't align anymore. Like you'll attract the next group, the next people, the right ones. But you have to trust your lane and you have to get into your lane. But if you just stay where you are in the shit, you're going to keep getting it. You know, that's your choice. You have to be willing to, and again, it's all telling you, you don't like it, get out of here. Graduate, grow.
Yeah.
You know, and most people lose confidence because they stay in this cycle, stay in bad relationships, stay in the job they don't like, stay in the country they shouldn't be in, stay because of maybe even their parents, what my parents say, what my friends say, what would society say, but they don't realize they're betraying themselves, they're betraying their truth, their inner child who just, and if you just went within and reflected and said, where am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? The insights will come because you're an antenna that receives insights once you're looking for them and asking the questions, and then you'll be guided, and then you'll find your path, and then from there it's never going to be easy because life is always going to challenge us to grow, and relationships are the biggest challenge. Because they're the ones we're most invested in. They're the ones we're most vulnerable. Because at work you're like, oh, it's work, but heart opening love. It might feel like it can break you, but it will make you. Like I always say, the becoming, who we become is in the overcoming. Like what we overcome allows us to become. So we want to become more, we have to overcome more. The people who don't have to overcome anything, don't become anything. So if you're going through it right now, like if people who are listening are struggling, it's because they're meant to become more. So be grateful for the overcoming because you're capable. You wouldn't be faced with it unless you're capable of it.
Exactly.
Right? It's there for a reason because you have a calling.
Yeah.
So the overcoming leads to the becoming, and that's what's exciting. Not what I can get. Who can I become? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful.
So deep.
Ocean deep here.
Deep.
Blue whale deep.
Yeah. And actually about creating the right environment. How do we do that to create the right environment to build our confidence?
So again, going back to what I said earlier, the biggest thing, that's what the essence of Back to Me, my whole ethos, my whole thing is, we have to let go. It's about letting go of everything that's not us. It's about letting go of everything that's not truth. It's about letting go of everything that we've collected that doesn't belong for our highest self and greatest truth and joy, greatest joy. So when we let go of that, our environment immediately shifts. That immediately removes people, removes situations, removes us, and immediately our environment gets better. Right? And then it's about seeking out. Well, you don't have to seek out. If you seek the alignment and the truth, you're going to end up in better environments. You're going to find it. But the key is when you do get an insight and you get an idea, that you act on it. I call it inspired action. So you first have to get curious and question. Then you have to recognize what's not you. Right? You have to identify all these things. And when you notice your voice, your chatter, that's not me. Fear, doubt, whatever, complaint, that's not actually me. The story, I can't do it, I'm limited, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, that's all a story. It's all just da. But when you notice that, because you've got curious, that's not me, you let go of it, it dissipates. Now I clear away all that stuff. Now I'm like a clear vessel now. Now I start asking questions of who am I really? What's my vision? What's in my heart? What's in my imagination? And then I start to get insights, but from clarity, because I've cleared away the stories first. Everybody's not doing the work to heal, so they're trying to get ideas, but all the crap is still there. So the signal is kind of distorted. It's not the truth signal. The truth signal can only happen when you let go of the noise and the stories and the fear and this childhood stuff. So once you get clear and you receive the signal, now you get insights because you're an antenna. Your whole body's an antenna. You receive ideas. Maybe this is for me. Maybe that's who I'm supposed to be. And then you start getting ideas to, let me go here, let me do this, let me start this business, let me create this offer, let me make this call, let me go to this event, let me go start this run club, they're all inspired, right? That's all insights from truth. You take that action, now you end up in receiving mode. That's what I call it. I don't believe in manifestation. Manifestation, forget it. You can't manifest. You finally remove everything that's in the way, and now you allow yourself to receive. Which would you rather? Allow yourself to receive or manifest? I want to receive. I want to receive unexpectedly. I want to receive everything that's for me beyond what I think I want. Manifesting is limited to what I think I know I want, which is shallow, superficial. You have no clue what you want.
Superficial.
Whereas I want to receive unexpectedly. I want to open the gates, let everything come. Like an ocean, again, let me have an abundance beyond what I know. So that's how, when you do that, now you get into receiving mode, and now you know what to. That's how you create the right. You end up in the right environments. The right environment ends up around you, but you have to trust yourself to take action. So I talk a lot about self-love, because everyone says like self-love, self-love. People are so far from self-love, you shouldn't even worry about it. Start with self-like. How do I like myself? Well, self-like starts with when you trust yourself. When you trust yourself, you like yourself. How do I get to trust myself? When I know myself. Because when I know who I am, I can trust myself. Then I like myself. How do I get to know myself? By questioning everything. So it starts with curiosity. Curiosity leads to clarity. Clarity leads to confidence. It starts there. And then when the ideas come, you move. Always move. You trust yourself. You show up. And yes, there's going to be challenges. Yes, there's going to be distraction. And that's why accountability is really powerful, because it anchors you in. A vision, an emotionally charged vision anchors you in to keep going, because it pulls you. Without the vision, you're trying to push for what you think you want instead of being pulled by what's already yours.
About challenges, by the way, how to maintain confidence during periods of doubt and challenge?
Yeah. Great question. The questions are fire today, Eva, as always.
Always.
Again, I was talking about this recently with a group, because a girl in my group asked me about self-doubt, like how do I deal with the self-doubt? And I gave her a couple of answers, but the first one is, doubt's always going to be there. As long as we're alive and breathing, I realized there's no arriving. Like, we're always going to be, when we're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, we're going to have challenges. We're going to have doubts. Our minds are going to be our minds. So embrace the self-doubt, first of all. Acknowledge it's going to be there. Let's not make it some illusion where we think, oh, I'm going to get rid of it and it's gone forever. Because I used to be like that, naive, thinking I'm going to be so light and so strong and so clear that I will never have doubt. So, no, doubt's coming, because we're always designed to progress all the time. We have to be in pursuit of something. We make progress. There's always going to be new challenges, always another level, new levels of growth, discomfort. So we have to embrace that. Like, we have to fully embrace that. Doubt's going to show up. It's okay. The second part is, I've said recently that I think true belief comes after the action, not before the action.
Yes.
So for me, for example, I ran a marathon. Even before, I was like, it's already done, because I knew it was done in my heart. But did I really believe it? I didn't know for sure until I did it. I had doubts.
Exactly.
So my true belief came when I crossed the line. Then I knew I could run a marathon after I crossed the line. But until then, I didn't really know. I did everything to convince myself and believe it and feel it and imagine it. But so sometimes belief comes after the action is done. So don't wait for the belief. Take the action, and then the belief will grow.
Exactly.
And then,
Most confident people aren't the one who aren't scared.
No.
They're actually scared, but they take action despite the fears. That's what I think.
100%, exactly. Like, I call it like being a visionary. I was doing it my whole life before I knew how to articulate it. Is you say yes first, you figure it out later. Whereas the realist person or the fearful person, they want to figure everything out before saying yes. And that's why they definitely don't multiply. They definitely don't make quantum leaps. They get stuck and they play small. Whereas if you want to, some people, how do they go so far? Because they say yes first, figure it out later. You don't need to know the how. Because again, the vision is in your heart and in your imagination. Just start taking the action. Like I said a minute ago, the inspired actions that come, just take them. Trust that. And if you trust that, the doors open, the roads open up in front of you. So one thing I always say to people with the vision is, don't think of the future and the success, think from it. So what does the successful, confident version of you look like? Imagine that. Sit in that. Touch it, taste it, hear it, smell it, feel it. How do you dress? What's your morning look like? What's your evening look like? What kind of people are in your life? What kind of work do you do? How do you dress? Don't think of that. Think from that and do it now. Don't act, when I'm there, act from that place now.
Exactly.
So don't think of the future, think from it. Bring it into the now and choose it now. And that's how you start activating the receiving mode now. Because that guy dresses better. Well, start dressing better now. That guy works out. Work out now. He or she gets up early. Get up early now. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, just take action,
but take it from the vision,
Yeah,
not
from
just
the
from
vision.
what you think or some YouTuber told you or some guy like me telling you to do it. I'm not telling you to do it my way. I'm telling you to find your way, find your truth, go within, get your clarity, and then you'll get the ideas. Do the steps I told you, and now you're going to say, this is my way.
Exactly.
And it might change and it might not, and it will open, but you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone says like trust the universe and trust, because that's you too. Because you're part of the universe. God is part of you. It's all built in. We're all built in. We have to access that highest part of ourselves and trust that. Because just like the sun rises and sets and night follows day and day follows night, our sun will rise and our sun will set in us if we can just trust it.
Exactly.
But if we can get back to me to find the truth of it. The only one you need is God. You don't need anybody else. You don't need YouTube. You don't need experts, influencers. You don't need what the world tells you. We have a built-in guidance system, but where it's buried, it's like in the basement or in the movies when there's like an underground bunker with all the power stuff. That's all in us. But we just have to set the intention to look for it, to seek. Seek and you shall find. It's written a couple of thousand years ago.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And about the last question now.
You remember all the questions. You haven't even looked at your note. I don't know how you do
actually,
it. You're amazing. I don't know how you do it.
I'm so in the flow, I don't even look at it. It's like,
Wow.
it just come like this. And,
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
I wanted to ask you what kind of easy practices we can implement in our daily life in order to become confident.
Yeah. Again, I think this whole podcast has been the way, right? Like how to do it. But it just starts with get curious first, really get curious. You have to create your vision. Like, don't worry, goals. I don't believe in goals. I believe in standards. And standards help you fulfill your vision. So when you have a vision of being healthy, like for me, my vision is being someone who's fit, healthy, strong. When I ran a marathon, that was not just a goal to run a marathon. That was a standard as part of my vision of who I am. I run, I train, I seek discomfort. I like to find myself and challenge myself. That standard is part of the vision of who I am. When I'm creating my business and what I'm when I'm thinking of my clients or my corporate and who I can be and what I can deliver and the message I'm meant to give, it's part of my vision that's already in my heart of who I'm supposed to be. I'm always asking God, what's my plan? How do I want to, and I'm not religious, by the way, so it doesn't matter if someone's religious or not. I'm not. But for me, every day I say, impress God, not man. So it's hard to figure all this out yourself. And you can call it the universe or energy. For me, it's all God anyway. So call it what you want, whatever makes you comfortable. But you have to seek. I believe you have to seek that. You say, what's for me? What's the highest version of me? You have to seek that. Be curious. And then take action on that and trust yourself when it comes. When those answers come and you can touch it, taste it, hear it, smell it, feel it, it moves you, it gives you chills, it's in your body. That's your truth. Go forward with that. And again, impress God, not man. Don't worry about impressing the world. Impress God. Do what use your gifts. Do what you're meant to do. And I believe when you use your gifts, you get rewarded. I've been blessed in my life, and I think it's because I said yes and trusted and figured it out after. I started 2010 just speaking on stage, running events, because I was on the cruise ships and I realized I was good at it. I just went with it. And I think because I use my gifts, God rewards me. Gave me my beautiful fiance, my dream girl, who I saw in my vision,
nice.
Gave me the business of my life, gave me great people, great situations like this, interactions, friendships, because I think I'm in my gift every day. And when I go out of my gift or when I go away from it, I end up suffering. I end up lost. I lose the momentum. I end up stuck. But when I go back into the gift and I focus on serving and alignment, I get into momentum and I can't stop it. I call it the can't help it. You can't help but succeed. You can't help but find joy. You can't help but win once you're in alignment. So that's the only daily practice is seek your truth, find your truth, get back to yourself, let go of it. Every day, what can I let go of? And even when I do the business coaching, the executives, the back to me is still there. What do we need to let go of? Because most entrepreneurs are doing too many things that don't align. They're doing wasted things. Instead of delegating, automating, eliminating, they're trying to do everything. So back to me applies in business too. Let go of everything that's not moving us forward. And that's how you multiply. And if you want to multiply, make sure you join the Success Multiplier Challenge. Shameless plug, because that's an online event for everybody. And I love when people multiply. Like, 'cause we're here to multiply. We're not here to play small.
Exactly. Wow, my God. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Aidan.
Pleasure.
It was,
you always bring out some good stuff out of me.
Yes,
So
always.
thank you.
But I feel we never have enough time to finish.
We could do 2 hours. It needs to be a 2 hour talk.
Exactly. So yeah, thank you so much for this deep conversation, but so fun, you know.
It was fun for me as well. Thank you so much. Like, I love I love when I get asked these questions when I do these because I love sharing it. Like for me, I get so excited. I could talk about it all day.
Yeah.
So maybe part 3 will go again.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you so much.
If the people like it.
Yes. I see you very soon for the next episode, and I wish you a very good day. Bye bye.